Welcome, folks. So David and myself, we're really happy to welcoming today Mario Conti from Midas Immersion Cooling. Mario is the CTO, and we're more than happy to have him here to get, together with David and myself in the show. Mario, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Stefan, David, good to see you again.
Welcome. So basically, the plan is today to really get to more information about Midas Immersion Cooling, get more information about Mario. That's why we're kicking off our session with introductory round. I believe you guys know David and myself. That's why we would like to start with Mario. Mario, please feel free to share a bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Mario Conti. I'm in charge of engineering here in Midas. I've been part of the company since 2013, so I've been lucky to work through a lot of the developments that this company has done over time. So just excited to be here and talk a little bit about immersion cooling and our approach and how we think that our system is better for the industry as a whole.
Great. David, you want to say something about you?
In short, have experience in heat transfer area. Part of that was connected with this district heating and heating ventilation, and another half was connected with the data center cooling, on-chip immersion and air cooling. And in OCP, we have a good work stream, which name is immersion challenges, and we evaluated the issues with TCO modeling, with the signal integrity, with the warranty guidelines and life cycle assessment for the fluids. And from this, we will happy to continue our conversation about the immersion cooling.
Very good. Yeah. So a few sentences about myself. Like David, I used to be a voluntary lead for the OCP EMEA community for more than 4 years. So David and myself, we work both as independent consultants, but we resigned this voluntary leadership role at the beginning of the year in January to focus on our consultancy work. Experience 20 years in the IT, more than 10 years, sorry, out of this 20 years, more than 10 years in the data center industry. All right. So far so good, Mario. So let's go into the first question. I think our listeners or people really watching this video later on, I would really get to know really what is where everything started, where Midas Immersion Cooling started, and what did you motivate, or what has really motivated you to join Midas?
Fantastic. So our beginning was a little bit different than some other companies because we actually started as a data center. So we offer colocation and hosting services, and as most data centers, the price of power was our largest expense. So we were actively looking on how to make our services more competitive. And that's when we came across immersion cooling. And we loved the technology from the beginning. We saw what it could do for our business. So we back in 2011, we became the first commercial immersion cooled data center in the world. And keep in mind, back then, a lot of the do's and don'ts that we figure out since then, those weren't known. There was a lot of challenges, but the technology, it was worth it, right? So it's been a process where we had to figure out what to do, how to do this, and stuff like that. Dealing with server manufacturers and try to get their service and their warranty, stuff like that. Those are challenges that we've been facing for more than 10 years now. And me I joined the company in 2013, and I started as an intern. And I think what caught my eye originally was, the whole green aspect of it, the energy saving, stuff like that. You're a young engineer and you want to make a difference. And then that I love Midas because of that. But I think the reason why I've stayed for so long and why I love it still is the challenge. We become engineers because we like to solve problems. and being a new industry in the forefront, there's been a lot of problems that need solving, and there's still a lot of problems that need solving. So it's been almost 12 years since I joined the company, and I have not had a chance to get bored yet. So I really like it.
Very good. So my understanding is really back in 2012, 2013, when you joined, you guys have been really one of these pioneers in immersion cooling, really working, seeing how things work and trial and error, so to speak. So you possibly advanced it big time. Now we have many players in the marketplace. Um,
We were definitely the guinea pigs. I mean, a
yeah,
lot of the things that everybody knows not to do, or
yeah.
it's basically common knowledge. Those were developed by in our data center. We learned not to do this and to do this and all that stuff. So yes, we've been doing this for a little while.
So you came a long way. So what is making Midas so unique, really, in comparison to the other market players, in comparison to competition, Mario?
So I think it also goes back to the fact that we started as a data center. So we we wanted to design immersion systems to use ourselves. So we wanted to use them as a competitive advantage to be a better data center and offer better services to our customers. It wasn't until about 2016 or so that AWS was huge, and at that point, we even if we had the better system, we couldn't compete. And we already have in our opinion, a great system. So that's when we decided to pivot and actually offer our products to the market.
Yeah.
But because we design systems to use ourselves, I remember the very first system that we developed. It worked great. It was fully redundant, but I was the lowest member in the food chain, so I was the one in charge of putting it together and also doing the maintenance,
Mhm.
and it sucked. I think it took me about a week to put the first one together, and if anything broke, it was a challenge to fix, and then you had to turn the stuff off, stuff like that. So even though it was fully redundant,
Yeah.
it wasn't concurrently maintainable. So at that point, we went back to the drawing board. So this is not acceptable. I mean, this is not a system that we want to use ourselves. So we went back and went through several iterations until we came up with a product that we were happy to use. And being the one that has to actually do the maintenance, we wanted to make it as simple as possible, because I didn't want to be in back of a tank, turning wrenches for 2 days, right? I wanted to make it as quickly and as easy as possible. So today I believe we have the most functional system in the market. Our systems are fully redundant and concurrently maintainable and fault tolerant. So, I don't know if you recall our tanks, but each one of our tanks has two cooling modules in the back. And each cooling module is completely independent from one another. They're fully redundant. So our system is 50 U's and it has 150 kilowatts of capacity, and that's per module. So any one of them goes down, you still have 150 kilowatts of capacity. And one of the great things about this system is if one of them goes down, you get an alarm, right? You
Yeah.
can go in there, you detach the other one, you can put a new one in, and you're back to full redundancy in 10 minutes or less, actually. Now, with the other module that you just removed, you can take it somewhere else and perform maintenance on that, whenever you want, somewhere, in your machine shop or whatever. You don't have to do it right at the computer room. So, and even on the maintenance side, we made it. Each module is a modular design on its own. So let's say a valve goes down. You drain the system, you replace that valve, you put a new one in, and you're good to go. And an hour or two, your system is repaired. You don't need a highly trained technician and have to deal with coils and solder any copper tubing, anything like that. Everything is built to be easy to be maintained. So I think that's one of the things that makes us different. And because we like the results, we've kept this approach where every engineer whatever they design, they have to build it. So you will be surprised how much attention of detail grows whenever you know that whatever you design, you're actually going to have to put it together, at least for a couple of one. It's not my problem that doesn't exist, because it will be your problem, and if you don't like it, you're going to have to go back and do it again. So I think that was what's made us different. You know, we build products that we want to use ourselves.
I'm so happy that you mentioned the redundancy of your immersion cooling tanks, the two CDUs you have there. I think, and please correct me here, and also David, please feel free to jump in with your comments and feedbacks here. I think you're the only one in the market who have that, right?
Not
Okay.
redundancy. So redundancy, there's a couple players in the market that has redundancy. They might even have concurrent maintainability, but nobody has fault tolerance, right? So if one of their system goes down, they can repair the other one over there, but they have to repair over there. If they're repairing it and the primary goes down, that's it. You lose your power. That's not the case with ours. So we effectively make our systems hot swappable. So everybody's familiar with the hot swappable power supplies in the servers.
Mhm.
Our modules are essentially as easy as that. You know, it might not take 10 seconds, it takes 7 minutes, but it's still, you know, from perspective, our systems are hot swappable. So in that we are definitely the only ones in the market.
Mhm.
I have
Oh, David, sorry. Yeah.
one question. What do you feel when you see the let's say big hyperscalers which choose their own immersion cooling approach, and when they make the same evaluation which you have made 10 years ago? What is your thoughts about that?
Well, I think that large companies, I think they have to try things on their own first. And I believe the most important thing is for them to be convinced that immersion cooling is the way to go in the future. And once they make that conclusion, I believe they will come back up and say, okay, do we really want to solve this again, or can we just do it on our own? I mean, there are major HVAC companies out there building crack units and air handlers, stuff like that. It's no different than the tanks, right? I mean, I think that the large hyperscalers will realize our business is not making cooling systems, or our business is, you know, whatever your hyperscaler does. So I think it's great from an experimentation stage, but I do believe that at some point they'll realize, and they'll just gonna go and reach out to the experts and really the people who've been doing this for a living.
And another question to you. You said that you love your work because you always see challenges and you used to overcome them again and again and again. So what is challenge for you right now in this year, and what you want to overcome?
Well, it's making your products better. It's always it's an ongoing journey, right? We are probably done about 7 iterations of our main enterprise product right now. We are working on basically making a system that can predict when the cooling is going to be used, rather than just waiting and adapting to it. So there's really a lot of challenges, and a lot of things that we're doing is there's not necessarily a problem that we have and say the immersion cooling can solve it. It's just, how do we solve it better, or how do we do it cheaper? How do we do it faster, right? I mean, it's always I mean, I don't want to sound cheesy, right? But perfection is not a destination, it's a journey, right? So, and we can see that every year products get a little bit better than the year before. And it's just because we're actively pushing and improving this, and we learn that this is, you know, this could be easier, this could be that, you know, finding better products, stuff like that.
Mm,
So,
Mario,
sorry. More questions, David? Because
Yes.
we have still have two. I have still two on my line here.
One question short, Mario, and can you give your feedback about the fluids? So the people want to know, is there a way to be carbon neutral and use fluids which allow you to reduce embedded carbon of the system?
Well, the carbon neutral, you can approach this in a lot of different ways. So immersion cooling, and at least our immersion cooling, on average, you start saving about 40 to 50% of your energy cost because of the huge advantages of cooling with a liquid instead of air. So that goes tremendously towards that carbon neutrality. The fluid side, one of the big misconceptions about immersion cooling is the oil is not like your oil change where you have to replace it every 10,000 miles or 5,000 miles. Here, the most dielectrics will last 7 to 10 years, and even then, the fluid is completely recyclable, so you can either recycle it or sometimes just clean it and keep it running for longer. Um, by organic based oils are also an option. So there's a lot of ways in which you can push that carbon neutrality. Ultimately, from our perspective, we call ourselves fluid agnostics. We know there's a lot of fluids in the market. We know there's a lot of them that are great. To us, it's more of a decision between the customer and the server manufacturer. Some server manufacturers have some approvals and say this is the fluid that I like, and that's fine with us, right? If you want to use this fluid, or you are an end user and you're very interested about green and having a dielectric that is plant-based, perfect. We our system works with either. You might have some slight differences in performance. Maybe you need a slightly colder water or stuff like that, but it will work with any fluid in there. At least any of that we have tested so far.
All right. So, Mario, since you guys are located in Austin, Texas, and the US is your home market, so which markets is Midas Immersion Cooling focusing at the moment outside the US? And I think the audience would like to really understand or see or learn where you have some live deployments, they can possibly also have a look at it.
Outside of the US, I think Europe, it's our strongest market. The UK actually is doing a very strong push towards immersion cooling. I think it's a perfect market for it. Even from a government perspective, there is a very strong push towards being more efficient and carbon neutral. And obviously, immersion cooling is a fantastic way to reach these goals. But then also they have very, very high energy prices. And they're a perfect weather for heat reuse. So you put all these things together, and the UK is really a very, very hot market. So I wouldn't be surprised if they turn out to be the short-term leaders, at least in immersion cooling, because that is a very they have a perfect crucible of great things, great factors working together towards pushing this technology to the next level. Europe as a whole, it's definitely a lot of interest there. But other than that, I think the Middle East, it's a very good market. The Middle East is focused on building the future,
Yeah.
and they know they cannot build the future following the steps of the past. So they're actively looking at new technologies and evaluating what's best for them.
Yeah.
Now, for them, not necessarily the price of power is expensive, and obviously the temperatures don't make heat reuse a good alternative, but they do have a very strong push towards being more efficient and being in the forefront. And I truly believe that immersion cooling is a technology that is gonna be the state of the art for the data center industry in a few years.
All right. So it's UK, it's Central Europe, but also Middle East. So and then the live deployment or some implemented immersion cooling tanks is possibly can be seen in the UK. Is that right?
Basically in the UK, we have a couple ones in the EU as well, and we have some tanks in the Middle East as well. So all of the above.
Perfect. So I think we are almost done for our session. So the last question, I think the audience would be keen on to get your input or your feedback when it comes to immersion cooling. Yeah, what kind of development you would see now over the next few years?
So that's a very interesting one, because I believe a good portion of the market believes that immersion cooling is the future. I believe that the benefits of immersion are so large that once a majority of the industry is doing it, or a significant portion is doing it, it's going to be a cascade. If your competitor is using this technology, you won't be able to compete without it. So I believe we will see a very abrupt change from immersion cooling being in the fringe and being a weird technology that is only being used in POCs and testing, stuff like that, to the point where it's going to reach critical mass. And then from there, it's going to be the floodgates open, right? What I don't know, and the part that I have not known for the past 10 years, is when is that shift going to happen? AI has expedited that quite dramatically. Back in 2016, we tried to get people to put, I don't know, 20 kilowatts in a tank, because the more density you put in a tank, the better. Your CapEx and your OpEx, stuff like that. And back then, 20 kilowatts, I mean, it was doable, but it was a challenge. Now with AI, I mean, people are asking, hey, can I put 120 kilowatts? Can I put 150? Well, yes, you can, right? So now it's not just a saving power question, but I cannot cool this system using the normal methods. I need to find a better option. And I mean, direct to the chip, I think it has some great advantages, but I think it's too complicated. And I think the industry is going to realize too, and realize that as well, and just make that jump to immersion. So what I think is going to see is we're going to go from trying to get companies to say, hey, can you warranty the servers in immersion and stuff like that, and having to work as in, hey, we're a weird little thing in this side of the industry, to just being the mainstream. I think that's going to have tremendous benefit to the industry as a whole, because the moment where everybody starts developing technologies without having to worry about air as a limiting factor, I think that's going to be huge. I mean, at that point, the development opportunities that are going to come across, and the stuff that we don't know is huge. But once we start figuring those things out and start developing and solving issues for that, I think that the industry is going to come up with a tremendous shift, where compute power is going to, go by a factor of whatever X, but power cost is going to go down, and I believe it's going to be a very big difference. What I don't know is when. So we can start seeing maybe those changes in 6 months. It might be 2.5 years, right? So that's going to vary a lot, depending on how quickly we can reach that critical mass, and get those hyperscalers, for example, to say, this is the stuff that we want to work with.
For sure, let's say high performance computing, AI applications, this is accelerating this process really to scale the business, to really pushing, and this is happening already now, Mario, to get it out of a niche, so to speak, now to that is scaling. It's possible to scale the business. And apart from that, think about the legislation in Europe when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to heat reuse. This is also supporting immersion cooling, right?
There are very strong pushes toward. I think the industry is ready. The technology is ready. It's just a matter of, it is still a weird technology, right? I mean, putting servers in a liquid, it goes against everything that we're being taught, right? So there is still that I don't know, that inertia about using a new technology. And this is a very conservative industry, right? I mean, it's always about having newest server, the best software, you know, development in those areas, it's always, you know, there's innovation is in the name of the industry.
Yeah.
But then whenever it comes to infrastructure, this industry is very conservative. And people are reluctant to be what they can perceive as guinea pigs. Well, they don't have to, because we already were the guinea pigs, you know, 10 years ago. But it's still in a large scale. Being the first doesn't come without its risks.
Yes, David, sorry.
Perceive risks at least.
I can just add another thing, that it's not only very conservative, but it's also connected with the relations that in existing data center industries we have, there is three parties. One is the software user, another is IT equipment user, another part is a facility provider. And this is three different enterprises. So when we talk about supercomputing, there is everything, the three in one, and they choose the best solution. But even when I ask them about the immersion cooling, they said that we get the complete system from the server, let's say supercomputer provider, which already integrate that cooling method. And usually they connected with the cold plates for many years, and immersion cooling, it's like new for them. And if it's not come from the server producer, this is why it's not come to them customers. So first is the server producer, which provide their equipment, and if they provide immersion ready servers, then customer will request from the facility provider immersion cooling tanks. So this is how it works.
I agree 100%. I mean, we're in an interesting intersection, because right now there's not enough immersion cooling servers out there, because there's not enough people asking for them, and there's not enough people asking for them because they're not available, right? So you have a little bit of the chicken or the egg issue going on, and it's slowly getting over that intersection, because there's a lot more immersion servers out there than there used to be even 6 months ago. So we're very bullish about this this technology reaching critical mass pretty a lot sooner than we expected. Definitely a lot sooner before AI became apparent.
Guys, what has changed? I mean, if you look 10 years back, I think people were really afraid and really reluctant with just water in the data center side. Yeah, they really avoided this. But now I think this is over. Liquid cooling is coming in now. Cold plate cooling, but of course immersion cooling now. And again, I think the future is bright. And I agree what you say. We cannot maybe say the point. When is the tipping point? Is it 2 years? If it's 3 years? If it's 5 years? But it's happening, and I'm really convinced about that. So, gentlemen, many thanks for your time. Sorry, Mario.
No, you touch a great point. That when we started, bringing water to the data center was completely unthinkable.
Yeah.
We are very thankful to, you know, the in-rack cooling or the liquid to a chip and all those technologies that broke that taboo. So that has been tremendous for immersion, because now the water's already there. All you need to do is make a more efficient use of it. So that is a mindset that got changed not too long ago. That was extremely helpful for immersion cooling in the long term. I mean, we had conversations where data center owners were, there's no way I'm bringing water to a tank. I mean, to the data center floor. No way. It's not going to happen.
I can also still recall this time. So, gentlemen, great conversation. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to meeting you guys in person at the OCP Global Summit. Also, people listening or watching this video recording, you are more than welcome to meet us. So when I say us, it's David, it's Mario, it's also Scott, the CEO of Midas, and myself. The four of us will be at the OCP Global Summit in 2 weeks' time in San Jose. The video recording will be shared on David's channel on Impleon YouTube channel, and also on mine on DME. Of course, we will also share it on LinkedIn. So, gentlemen, many thanks for your time. It's appreciated. You have a good day or a good evening, I must say, and talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.